We are products of the environments we find ourselves in. And this is huge. Your environment represents, to begin with, your living space, what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you smell, and the people that surround you and how they treat you, how they behave in their own homes, how they cope and achieve, and how that influences you without you even being aware of. Let's start with the sound that surrounds us. If you live in a home where there's laughter and emotional connections and people speak to you warmly and respectfully, it has an effect on your image of self. And the same is true for homes and environments where people are loud and abusive and aggressive and a lot of negativity that seeps into your ears constantly, even if that is not directed towards you. The noises and the tones and the way people speak to you matter. They matter to your self-esteem, to your character, your definition of self, and whether or not you're pulled towards or pulled away from those things. The sound of swearing will irritate you if that's not something that you condone, even if that swearing is not directed towards you. The sound of laughter will either make you smile or make you irritated, depending on your own mood, the person's voice, your feelings towards that person, and how frequently you listen to that laughter or swearing or any other noise and tone that surrounds you on a daily basis. The smells in your environment are just as impactful to your mood and well-being as the noises in that environment. Imagine being extremely hungry and craving a piece of food that you really, really like, and walking into a home or a restaurant and being presented with that food. But also in that same location is a strong, pungent smell that you cannot stand. You find that that hunger and that craving will immediately disappear and even turn to nausea because you are not able to shove that food down your throat, even as hungry as you are. Your body rejects it despite its hunger and starvation because of the impact that smell has on you. And sometimes smells are triggers of things that you've experienced before, like hospital smells and any other smells. Our hearts and minds are drawn to visual things that align with them, because the one thing that will attract somebody and make them go for it with everything that they have will not seem appealing to the next person. When you walk into a room that has been set beautifully and romantically with roses and candles and clean arranged settings, it pleases you because of the way it looks beautifully, because of the way it makes you feel special, needed, invited, and the fact that someone respected you enough to take the time to set that up for you. Even if you're the one setting that up for yourself, it makes you feel special. It makes you feel valued. Our environments stimulate our senses, whether it's the hearing or the seeing or the touching or the smelling. Every single one of those experiences makes an impact on you. The way people look at you, the way people speak to you, the words as well as the tone, the way people receive you, the way that home is clean and tidy and smelling will make you feel welcomed, like that person took the time to prepare for you. And the reverse is true when those things are negative, when it's smelly and dirty, and the noises that you hear are rude and aggressive and abusive. Those things have an impact, even if they are not directed towards you. Even if you're just a passerby listening to verbally aggressive language, swearing, loud tones, it makes an impact. You walk away associating or distancing yourself because you do not condone that language and that behavior. You find yourself playing it in your mind or even talking back, and some people even stop and intervene. because they cannot bear to walk away from that thing that they have just experienced. But if that was your everyday life, it makes a difference in your thoughts, in your views, in your dreams, and your perception of self. The people in your environment matter. Aside from those noises and smells and visuals, are the actual people who make or break those things. How the people live their own lives will impact you positively or negatively just by observation and interaction with them. How they treat you directly will impact you just by you communing with them. And how you perceive those people will have an impact on you. Whether it enhances or diminishes you is a result of your belonging and how you fit into that community. And that fitting is based on who they are and how they treat you and how you're able to perceive that treatment and remain who you are, assuming that you know and love who you are. Because sometimes we gravitate towards those environmental factors, and that's when we become the products of our environment. How do we make those environmental beds that we lie in? We decide where we live. We decide where we socialize and where we belong. And in doing so, we place ourselves permanently in certain environments. Whether these are family or social or professional environments doesn't matter, because at certain ages, we become responsible for the health of those environments in which we find ourselves, because that environmental health starts to translate into our own physical and individual health and well-being. The beautiful thing about your living environment is that it's not stable. It's completely flexible and reliant on you to do whatever pleases you, to create the routines and the behaviors and the expectations that please you in that environment, to change the smells, to change the noises. There's so much escape now in music and other forms in which you can transform and balance those things around you when you're unable to move out of specific spaces, because your environment matters a lot to your mental health and your sense of self and your everyday feelings of worth. And you can do something about it in a way that suits you without necessarily having to leave town. But in some cases, you do have to pack up and leave those locations depending on the triggers that they have for you, and go to those environments where the influence is positive, where you can observe people doing the things that you desire to do, where you can live a peace and calm and tranquil life.